Weather Authority coverage starts right now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my live stream. I'm going to be breaking down everything about this weekend. We've got some snow on the way and a cold blast of air to talk about for Sunday, and we can get right into it here. Let's see. Let's talk about our weekend forecast. We will have some snow to talk about for the overnight hours tonight and into the morning on Saturday. Other than that, it will be a cloudy day. And then we've got some sunshine in the forecast for Sunday, but it will be a very cold day. Other than that, today we are expecting, cloudiness throughout the area, highs in the mid 20s across the coast, maybe lower 20s inland. But let's get into the weekend because today's pretty quiet, not much to talk about, but there are some things to go over for the weekend, of course. We're going to see a low pressure system, an Alberta Clipper. We call it that since it originates in Alberta, the province in Canada, and it's going to travel across the Great Lakes, as you just saw, and we are anticipating a trough to set up somewhere in New England. That's the black line you see on your screen. And wherever that line sets up is wherever the most amount of snow is going to fall. And these have been notoriously kind of tricky to forecast in the past. They are going to set up somewhere, we're thinking along the seacoast of New Hampshire or maybe in Essex County, Massachusetts. That's where I've been seeing this morning. And I'll go into more detail than that, but not everyone in Maine is going to see some snowfall. There is a chance for some snow across eastern parts of Maine, but it's mostly going to be focused in the western half of Maine, especially across southern Maine in York County and maybe Cumberland County as well, and up in the western mountains too. So let's take a look here. It's going to move through, and then after it moves through, it's going to move out quickly Saturday, and by the time we wake up Sunday, we should see lots of sunshine, but it is going to be very cold and it's going to be a bit windy at times too on Sunday. Let's take a look at our snow map. This is what we're expecting. It's starting tonight, and I'll get into exact timing in just a second here, but just a brief overview of how much snow that we're thinking about. 1 to 3 inches will do it across the majority of New Hampshire, while a coating to 2 inches will do it for areas across Sebago Lake, up through the mountains of Rangeley, Freiburg, Lewiston, just south of Augusta, through Penobscot Bay, Casco Bay in the Portland area as well. A coating to 2 inches is what we're expecting. And it's not going to be a super steady snowfall throughout the entire overnight hours. That's why we're estimating a coating to 2 inches for most of us here. And then as you look at areas across Bar Harbor, areas like Greenland and up through Aroostook County, you guys just have a chance for a coating since the snow is pretty much going to be dialed into the western half of the state. And if you look at Seacoast, New Hampshire, areas in this region, and even into southern York County, this is where we are anticipating our trough to set up, where we could see isolated totals above 3 inches of snowfall. We could see 4 or 5 maybe inches of snow in wherever that trough sets up. It's hard to tell exactly right now where it's going to set up. It's unfortunately one of those situations where we won't know until it's happening where the most snow will fall. Charlie Lopresti is in tonight to go over all of this with you again on air at 5 p.m. And we can go into some timing now, and I'll show you those heavy bands that are going to set up. So as you can see, this is around 5:30 this evening, Friday. We can start to see some light snow showers form across western New Hampshire, places like Laconia, maybe at this point, Plymouth, New Hampshire, up through Coos County. Just some light snow showers at this point, lots of cloudiness, and we're going to see snow start to maybe thicken up in places through the overnight hours tonight. This is 1:30 in the morning, overnight tonight. You can start to see that snow is starting to be a little bit more steady over New Hampshire, just getting into parts of Maine through maybe Kittery at this point and parts like Freiburg and in York County. And you can start to see here that there's a darker band that's going to set up right around the Portsmouth area through Seacoast, New Hampshire. And that's this, let's see if I can outline it here, this heavy band of snow right here. It might not be even heavy snow. I'm going to say more moderate snowfall in this area. Definitely some higher snowfall rates, which means it's going to be falling at a faster rate than maybe it will in Portland. So I'm expecting that area to get the most out of the system, and you can see, I'll bring up the snow map again, but that area is definitely going to see the most snowfall out of this system And it's just going to be more light, scattered snowfall as we look at the rest of our morning. And honestly, maybe not every town is even going to see snowfall in the western part of the state, but overall, more scattered in nature, light snow showers, a coating to 2 inches will do it for about everyone through our morning. And I meant to highlight too, I'll go back in a second when the snow is going to stop in our area. But again, here's a look at your snowfall for overnight tonight and into Saturday morning. 1 to 3 inches does it for about most of New Hampshire, except for areas where that trough will set up. And we could see isolated areas get over 3 inches of snowfall. And again, it's not going to be certain where this band sets up until it's actually happening. It could get into southern Maine, into southern York County, and we will know for sure once it's happening. But a coating to 2 inches pretty much does it for most of us, unless you are in southern York County where you could get upwards of 3 inches and possibly 4. But across the Bago Lake, through the Portland area, Casco Bay, up through Rangeley, you guys are expecting a coating to 2 inches. I'm going to go back to our storm tracker here and specifically highlight start and end times for you guys. Again, let's flash forward it here to when it starts around Maine overnight tonight. It's pretty light in nature. It's not going to be a huge deal at all. I'm not expecting incredibly challenging morning drives tomorrow. It could be slick at times. You know, if any snowfall at all is going to be bringing some tricky travel. But this is 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. It is still snowing in places like Portland and Freiburg, and it could be a little bit more filled in at this point than the model is showing. It could be up through Lewiston and Rangeley as well, through York County. And then as we move forward, we're going to see that the snow pretty much wraps up in the afternoon hours. This is around 5:30 Saturday. We're just having some lingering snow showers and some flurries going through the state, but overall wrapping up pretty quickly, and it's pretty light. It's going to be pretty much concise through the southern parts of Maine, and all of New Hampshire is expected to get some snowfall out of this. Now let's move on to Sunday, because after this Clipper system moves out, we're going to see Arctic air rush into the area. Oh, this looks a lot different than when I left it. Let's see. Well, I'm just going to highlight the cold areas here. Let's see if I can maybe move that. Yeah, let me move that out of the way. I'm actually just going to get rid of these for a second, just so I can highlight these areas here. So the areas in your light blue, you guys are under a cold weather advisory. You can ignore the extreme cold watch. It looks like those have extended from this point. So in cold weather advisory is in effect for the areas in blue. We could see wind chills Sunday morning as low as -30 degrees. And now the areas that are in the dark blue color here, you guys, it looks like this has just been updated. That looks like an extreme cold warning. Let me pull it up so I can give you guys exact numbers here. Hold on just a second. Yep, it's been pretty much extended for all of New Hampshire. So an extreme cold warning goes in effect for those areas in dark blue, 6 p.m. Saturday to 10 a.m. Sunday. Dangerously cold wind chill values as low as -28 degrees are expected for those areas in the dark blue color. Now, areas that are in the lighter blue color, you guys are under the cold weather advisories. That is for York and Cumberland counties, Franklin, Oxford, northern Somerset counties. You guys will be in this from 6 p.m. Saturday to 10 a.m. on Sunday. Very cold wind chills, again, expected to drop as low as -30 degrees. Now, this purple area is a winter weather advisory, and this goes into effect 1 a.m. tonight until 6 p.m. on Saturday. Snow accumulations are expected, which is what I've been highlighting here for you guys currently, and which makes sense. This is actually all new as of since I started this live stream that they've been updating. So I'm going to post on Facebook right after this an updated list of all the watches and warnings that are currently out, and you guys can take a look at that. But I'm going to move on here to some wind, because the wind is going to be a factor for your back end of Saturday and into the day on Sunday. This is around 7:30 Saturday evening. We're going to see winds start to pick up around 25. We could even gust up to 30 miles per hour late in the day on Saturday. This is when all of that cold air is going to be ushering in. The front will move through and bring in that cold air. And we're going to see gusty winds. Again, your wind chill values will drop in this time. And I have wind chill values up next, so stay tuned. This is around 2:30 p.m. on Sunday. Winds have died down a tad, but they're still gusting up to 25 miles per hour, especially through the higher elevations, through Rangeley, and even areas along the mid-coast like Rockland. You guys look to be a little bit more windy throughout the day on Sunday as well. And as as we go forward, too far. You can see that the winds will continue through the morning on Monday, dying down for some areas, especially across York County, but still high. And those pink colors could be gusts up to 35 miles per hour in the higher elevations. Now let's look at some wind chill values for Sunday. And we can actually start a little sooner than, here we go. Saturday, this is around noon. Our feel-like temperatures for much of the state are going to be in the single digits as we have a northeasterly flow. We are going to see a cold day on Saturday, especially on the back end of Saturday, since we've got the snowfall in the morning and then we've got the cold temperatures in the afternoon once the front moves through. You can see the pink colors are those Arctic air, is the Arctic air moving through. And you can see as we head through the overnight hours and wake up on Sunday, we will wake up with our feel-like temperatures in the double negative digits. And again, anything in the double negative digits for wind chill values are dangerously cold temperatures. You definitely don't want to be outside for too long, especially in the morning on Sunday, as it feels like negative 22 up in Rangeley. It could get as far down as negative 30 through the overnight hours for Rangeley, especially in the mountains. So frostbite times for these, anything under negative 10 degrees, you could see frostbite in just 10 minutes for any exposed skin. I'm talking fingers, ears, nose, your cheeks even could get very cold. Your toes, if they're not covered properly, could definitely see frostbite in 10-15 minutes. And then throughout the day on Sunday, this is around 2 p.m., they will rise above zero, but our feel-like temperatures will pretty much stay in the single digits throughout the day. All right, I will pull up the snow map, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I can go over this once more. So snow expected to start through the overnight hours tonight in Maine. New Hampshire will see snow start in the evening tonight, and it will last through the early afternoon tomorrow. It's going to be scattered across the state of Maine. Not every town is going to see snow, especially if you are in the eastern part of Maine. But pretty much everyone coating to 2 inches if you are across the Sebago Lake region, Penobscot Bay up through Rangeley. Rhonda says, so nothing, just cold. You're pretty much right. It's not a huge deal. It's nothing like the nor'easter we saw a few weekends ago. But just wanted to hop on here and highlight the weekend weather for you guys. Jonathan says could be a miss as well, right? So wherever that trough sets up is the area that could see over 3 inches of snow. It's not a nor'easter where it could miss us completely like we saw last weekend. It's a system moving from Canada through the northeast. So it is coming. We are seeing some snowfall out of this. So it won't miss us entirely. But depending on where that trough sets up, that is going to be the area that sees the most snow. And I'm thinking right now it's going to be along the seacoast, New Hampshire, and across Essex County, Massachusetts, and places like that. It could creep into York County as well. So if you're in areas like Kittery, you could get over 3 inches of snow. Gary says he missed the temperatures. Oh no. Let's see if we can pull some temperatures up for you. If you're looking at Sunday, Gary, if you're looking at Sunday for temperatures, I'm assuming that's what you're thinking. If you want current temperatures, let me know and I can pull that up. But temperatures for Sunday, I'll pull up the storm tracker and I'll fast forward to Sunday here. We can talk about the air temperatures. Here's Saturday again. The snow will be dissipating, some lingering light snow showers throughout the afternoon, possibly into the evening for areas through Augusta. Hold on, bear with me just a second. I've got to fast forward this a little bit and then I got to rewind again. Sorry for the whiplash, but your air temperatures for Sunday, we're going to wake up into the teens, some sunshine and clouds, but overall it should be a trend for clearing skies. This is around 2:30 in the afternoon for Sunday. We will warm into the upper teens, maybe the low 20s, but I guarantee it's not going to feel that warm. We do have windy conditions out of the northwest that will make our temperatures feel much colder than that. Winds could gust up to 30 miles per hour on Sunday. Overall, we're going to fall back down into the single digits for the overnight hours on Sunday. I can pull back up your wind chill values again for you, and I can I'll just go through this again. So this is around noon on Saturday, feeling like the single digits. You can see the stretch of pink through Vermont. That is our Arctic air about to move through to our region. You can see now it's in New Hampshire. This is around 6 p.m. on Saturday. And the winds are going to shift out of the northwest. And as we wake up Sunday morning, our wind chill values will be in the double negative digits, which is dangerously cold temperatures. And it feels like negative 22 in Rangeley up at this point at 8 a.m. on Sunday, negative 10 in Portland, around negative 11 in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, negative 23 in Berlin, New Hampshire. So these are going to be some pretty cold temperatures. And we've had some consistency with our weekends being dangerously cold. I can point out a few in my head just thinking that we've had some pretty frigid wind chill values on some of our weekends this winter, and this one won't be an exception. Just will be on Sunday instead of Saturday like we've seen in the past. All right. If there are no further questions, I will leave you guys with that, and I hope you have a great day.
This has been live interactive Weather Authority coverage from CBS 13 and Fox 23. Make sure to stay connected with CBS 13 and Fox 23 on air,